Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursdays at 3. I'm your host, Jason Crespin. It's Thursday, January 6th, 2022. Happy New Year, everyone. It's been a little minute since I've seen everyone on Thursdays at 3. Hopefully, everyone had great holidays. And man, it's cold in Amarillo today. Oh, it's cold. It's super, super cold. But glad you guys are all joining us for Thursdays at 3 today. We have a big show. Big show. We got some of our amazing actors that are a part of Murder on the Orient Express, as you can see in my background. Yep. And then of course we have a lot of things going on at ALT this week, so let's jump right on into it. What's going on at ALT? Let's see. We have a winter dance camp, or excuse me, winter theater camp going on right now. Miss Michaela, our new academy director, of course, has been running that with our camp director, Miss Erin Murphy, and her camp counselors. They've been doing an absolutely awesome job with that. They have, in fact, if you are out and about tomorrow, they have a camp showcase tomorrow, Friday at 1:15 over at the ALT Adventure Space. Doors open at 1 o'clock, and they'll get to feature their campers and everything that they learned this week at their theater camp. I keep saying dance. I'm sure they've done a little bit of movement or something as well. Speaking of the academy, don't forget academy registration for the spring semester is underway right now. If you have yet to look at the classes or have yet to re-sign up for your spring class from the fall, do so. Check out our website, amarillo.littletheater.org. Click on the academy homepage. You can find out all the information there about spring classes. Of course, all of the registration stuff's underway right now. Classes will begin on Tuesday, January 18th. Tuesday, January 18th. And our spring academy runs through May 21st. Great classes, theater classes, dance classes, vocal classes, not only for kids, but for adults as well. So if you are looking at maybe taking an acting class or dance class, check those out. We would love to have you, of course, a part of our academy. And speaking more about our academy, auditions, they have auditions coming up right around the corner for Tuck Everlasting. It's great new musical. In fact, I checked with Michaela and her and Miss Beth Alexander, the choreographer for Tuck Everlasting. They will be having a workshop with their dance kind of captain, Miss Savannah. That'll be on January 12th, a dance workshop for kindergartners through 12th grade. So all ages are welcome for that. So definitely if you get a chance. Hold up. Hey, Mr. Allen. No, you're good. You're good.
What you get for officing.
Exactly. Yes. I'm gonna have a phone call. But anyway, dance workshop, Tuck Everlasting. We want to make sure that everyone knows about it. You need to email Miss Michaela at amarillo.littletheater.org to sign up for that dance workshop. And auditions are right around the corner. Those auditions will begin on January 16th. Of course, and continue to the 17th. Tuck Everlasting production dates March 25th through April 3rd. You will need to sign up there at that link to sign up for a audition slot. Don't forget, these auditions happen before classes start. So Miss Michaela auditions the 16th and 17th. Then on the 18th, classes start. Or the 19th. Anyway, right around the corner. No, the 18th. That is the 18th. I don't know the dates. I only know my dates. I've given up on the academy dates. I'm so sorry, Michaela. So yeah, Tuck Everlasting, definitely check out all the audition information. Packet is online at amarillo.littletheater.org. So definitely click on that, check that out as well. Cabaret is having rehearsals right now. It's going to be a great show. They've geared up for a huge show, great cast. Those just put it on your calendar. Cabaret will run February 3rd through the 20th, so right around the corner next month. And if you have not heard yet, there's a great experience called the Cabaret Experience. It's going to be a kind of immersive event, if you will, on February 11th and 12th. It's going to be a really cool experience to pair with your show tickets. So mark those calendars. If you're already looking for something for Valentine's Day, it's going to start at 6:30 for the actual event experience, if you will, and then the show starts at 8 o'clock. But if you can't come to that, still get tickets, of course, to the show February 3rd through the 20th at the ALT Adventure Space. It's going to be awesome. Alan has some big plans for not only the show, but for the cabaret experience as well. There'll be invites coming out, postcard coming out, so check your mailbox and your emails for more information about that coming up as well. And finally, before we get to our guests today, we are still in need of some volunteers. If you are interested in volunteering, you can email our amazing volunteer coordinator, Miss Alyssa at amarillo.littletheater.org, or call, of course, the box office 355-9991. We are still in need of one more person to help backstage for Murder on the Orient Express. And then you may have just received an email. We have some great ushering and concession spots that are opened for our 2-week run. Lend an hour, help, hand out programs, help greet guests as they get to the theater, or help serve, coffee or sell them some cookies at concession. We would definitely need as much help as we can. So if you can, sign up for those items or email Lissa or call the box office. The show is going to be so much fun. So if you're interested in being backstage and helping with the show, it's not a crazy heavy show to work on. It's just these moments that happen where we have to switch some scenes around. So let Miss Lissa know if you're interested in helping out. Okay, it is now my great pleasure to start talking about a show that we've been working very hard on, Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, which of course runs the January 20th through the 30th. And we have 3 of our actors who are teachers for AISD who we were like, hey, you don't have school today. Let's get you on Thursdays at 3 before you go back to school. So it is my pleasure to welcome Michael Newman, Michael Stafford, and Jenny Morgan. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Long time no see. Jenny, your fire looks so warm and inviting.
Oh, join me by the fire. Yes, I do have my Christmas tree up still.
I have yet to take mine down. I have not had the time to do that.
It's so sad. I can't. I just can't.
I have minions for that. They're called children.
Send them my way.
I love it. Well, first, how are all 3 of you? I mean, you guys have had a little bit longer of a break from school, as far as kind of an extra week, and so you guys have been, of course, having the holidays and stuff, but also applying it to rehearsal, which has been great. But how are you 3 doing as far as just life in general?
Go ahead. I love a good show over Christmas break because I'm fine rehearsing if we're here in town for Christmas break because there's no stress. You can stay up late. You can sleep late. It's good.
Sure.
Being a teacher, I don't mind doing a show over my break at all. So it's
Absolutely. Being in a show is like my natural state. So it just feels very comfortable.
Jessica Cardenia says, "Yay, AISD peeps!" They're representing. We should say, okay, remind us all where all you teach. Michael Newman, remind us where you teach.
I'm the technical theater director for Amarillo High and Tascosa High.
And I am the technical theater director for Caprock and PD.
Yeah.
And I teach 8 and 9-year-olds how to read at Olson Park. I teach 3rd grade.
I feel like you should also just say you're the technical director at Olson Park.
At Olson Park. And sometimes we do theater.
You know what?
Sometimes we get a little dramatic.
Yeah.
Do that. Take credit.
Margaret. Hey, Miss Margaret. Miss Jenny's aunt. She says, hi, friends. Can't wait for the show. Oh, I'm glad that you're going to come see it. I love it. I don't know if Agatha Christie ever did a Murder on the Tram at Sandia Peak, but she could have written Yeah, Michael's, in case you haven't heard, over the break, Jenny texted me that people were stuck on the tram overnight, and they had to sleep in the tram because it was so cold and they couldn't get thing froze over. And,
wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Did anyone die?
No.
Everyone was fine. Everyone was good. Everyone was saved. It was good. No murder on the tram either.
No murder.
Spoilers to anyone who's going to see the show. Someone dies.
Yes, there is a
Michael.
I love it. Let's remind everyone who you guys play in the show. Let's start this way and go around.
What's your way? What's this way?
I was like, I don't know if it's the same or not.
To Newman first, I believe.
To Newman,
All right,
Newman,
okay.
Newman first.
I play the great detective Hercule Poirot.
Hercule Poirot.
Hercule
Poirot.
Poirot.
And I play Monsieur Constantine Bouc.
And he's the owner of the train, basically.
I run the company, Monsieur.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. I was like, why do I have that line in my head? No, you can't. And then Miss Jenny.
I play Greta Olsen, and she is a Swedish missionary.
That's right. She is. That's right. And you guys are doing such a great job. You know, the whole cast is absolutely phenomenal. We'll talk all about them and the show as well. But I kind of wanted to start off with reminding myself of you guys' experience at ALT. Of course, Jenny, you grew up in the academy. I think you started when you were 12. Is that right?
Well, yeah, just like a few years ago.
Just a couple seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, I mean, your parents enrolled you in the academy and just started taking classes. Is that right?
Yeah, back when Alan was teaching the academy classes, back in the day, my first show was Alice in Wonderland, and I was 12, and I was Alice.
Oh, lead your first shot out of the gate. and downhill from there.
And then everything else has just been junk. No, so that was my first Academy show. My first main stage show, I was 13 and I was in Oliver. And that was great.
Right.
And this will be my 24th main stage show.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you've been doing many shows.
A lot of kid shows. But this is my 24th main stage.
I love that. And then Michael Newman, of course, you started, your first show was Oklahoma, correct?
Oklahoma in 2007. I played.
I couldn't remember what year it was. Yes.
I had much more hair back then.
Probably all.
Right. I remember Michael. I guess I'm trying to think the first time I met you. It must have been something with theater related. Seeing you at WT or
I think that might have been it, because we were at WT at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Just that you were in the mass comm department, I was in the theater department. They ran together so many damn times. So it's insane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But Jenny and I were in that production with you in Oklahoma, and gosh, it was such a fun cast.
Oh, man.
We had so much fun.
It was great.
Yeah. In fact, that was we quote that show many a time because it was right before Jenny got married that summer, and that was the May show. And I wish I was back to that weight. I wish I was back to Oklahoma weight.
That makes three of us, I guess.
Right? Yes. It's like, can we just all go back to Oklahoma weight? It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I look at pictures.
Michael Stafford was probably in elementary school or something.
Yeah, we could go back to that way too. Jeez.
I think everybody's like, if we just get back to the mid-20s for just a little bit, we'd be great.
Yeah. And then Michael Stafford, I've known you forever from your family as well. This is your first show to do with us at ALT, but you've grown up doing theater in Amarillo all your life. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, I started at Axe back when that was being run by Linda Hughes over at AC. And I started out in a class there, which really I got started because my sister was taking some of the high school level classes, and my parents were like, yeah, you should do this too. Get you doing something interesting. And I was like, okay. And then that just, started the ball rolling. So yeah, I went through Summer Youth Musical, through high school program at Tascosa. And then, I did do a couple of ALT classes and workshop type things kind of sporadically through the time. Yeah. But this is my first time. This is my ALT debut.
Woo! I'm excited. It's so awesome. And so many others are either making their debut or just just started this season. And then, of course, some veterans as well, which is always great. I was going to say, we've already talked about, I've shared the stage with you, Michael, and Jenny before, of course. And then Jenny, I got to direct you with Rock of Ages, and when you were our guest actor, if you will, for Little Women, the Academy production, which is all around this time, so I keep getting all those time hops. Yeah. But this is my first time to direct you, Michael, and you, Michael. It's fun.
I'm not gonna lie, it is a lot of fun. It is really fun.
And it's also my first play to direct for the main stage. I've only done musicals for the main stage or Adventure Space. And so a lot of people, it's so funny, people are like, you direct plays? And I'm like, I directed plays in the academy all the time.
Yeah.
You guys
Wait,
haven't, I guess,
hold up. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, here's the question.
But this
What's it like
show.
directing a play with adults?
Oh yeah.
Well, what?
Good
Oh,
question.
I love it. It's so fun because there's so many times where you guys can easily grasp a concept because you've lived your life, or experience of having, whether it be heartache or different things like that. The kids, of course, it's so fun because it's those light bulb moments. You guys all know as teachers, and so there's some aspects of that I miss of these kids getting so excited. But you guys get tickled and excited just like the kids do. You know what I mean? When there's a moment that happens on stage that just clicks, like I love it. It works so well. And man, this show, not to, oh, my seat just went down. My elevator. We have just gotten a good group of actors and our production team and everyone working on this show. It's just, not to be corny, but it's a well-oiled machine. And man, we're just, I think, I'm really happy with where everything is right now. And you guys have been all working so hard, especially over the holidays, which is just awesome.
We'll make you proud for your first play.
Thank you. Good. Yes. Kristen says it's a brilliant cast. I bet it's been really fun to direct. I can't wait to see it. It has been fun to direct because it's a mystery. So we want to make sure everything is all the clues are being heard and different things like that. And still, try to keep the mystery alive as much as we can. I think you guys can agree. We're at that point where we've rehearsed so many things and we still have so many rehearsals to go to, that anytime there's anything new, like we grasp onto it of like, oh my gosh, that was so fun, or somebody might say a line differently and it just rings a different way, and I get tickled and start laughing, and I love it. I love it so much.
I will say that
the other day,
that is probably the hardest part of any rehearsal is exactly that. When Jason gets tickled about something and starts laughing, it's infectious and it stops everything. We all just bite into it.
True.
Jason's a good balance of, he runs a tight ship, but it's a fun ship.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't fully typed up my notes from last night, but Michaels will see a note that I loved on Monday when we ran Act 1. You guys had this moment where you guys looked at each other and it was just hilarious. And so I was like, I want that back. I know it was so spontaneous and just like, we were like, who has the next line? But it worked for the moment. So I'm like, yeah, I want that back. I got tickled with it. With this, with this show, it's a of course, Agatha Christie famous book. It was made into 2 movies. But for some reason, if somebody has no clue what this play is about or this book about or anything like that, how would you guys explain the show without, of course, revealing any of the mystery, if you will?
Maybe your detective should take that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's start, Newman.
Okay. It is a classic murder mystery. The difference is it takes place in an enclosed space. There's no going to different locations. There's only one location that anything could have possibly taken place on, and there's only a select group of people that could have potentially been the culprit. So it's interesting to kind of see how that plays out. And this is I love this mystery. I've read the book, read the script, seen both movies. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
The setting is kind of a fun time, or I don't know, aspect. It's in the mid-30s, so the costumes are fun, and the timing is fun, and the props are fun. You're going back in time. It's old-timey, an old-timey murder mystery. So if you like period things, it's good.
Yeah, and basically, Perot, he is in Istanbul. He meets up with his friend Michel Buch, who he has to get to London. So they're like, okay, gets him a spot on the Orient Express, and he meets a ton of people on this train, and then one of them gets murdered. And so then Buch is like, hey, if you could help me out, that'd be great. You kind of pull the friend card, like, hey,
yeah,
absolutely,
I need your help. Yeah.
I know you're on vacation, but can you just do me this favor?
Yeah.
Real quick, can you do me a solid and solve
Which
for me?
One thing that I do like about the show, I think, is even though it's this big murder mystery story, it's got so much brevity and wit with it. And it's for people who are totally new to it or not familiar with it, I think stylistically it's very close to the classic Clue movie.
Yes.
Because it is this big murder mystery, but you have all these funny moments and things that they're funny and they're great, but they don't pull you out of the story either. It still makes sense and it's all cohesive, but it just gives you all those ha ha ah, which then really help the impact of the ending really land, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
For our theater people out there, you can clearly tell it was written by Ken Ludwig.
I was gonna say, yeah. He does so well. And Ken Ludwig, recently we did his adaptation of Baskerville, and so that people can kind of understand, that humor. And the great thing is Agatha Christie's estate sought out Ken Ludwig and said, "We want you to write this book into a play," and so they trusted him with the piece, which I think is he did a really, really good job with this adaptation, if you will. And I feel like, a lot of people who do know the book or the movie, this play follows it very closely. There are some minor changes with minimal cutting out some characters and combining some characters, so that way it's just less people on the train. Because, man, if we had to fit more people on that train, I don't know where we would put up.
I was thinking about that last night during the reveal scene, and I was just like, my God, can we just imagine if we had those people back in here?
Yeah, and we should talk about that. So, our set, for those of you, I'm going to kind of keep tight on our set reveal until, it's pretty much done. But, there's two little small locations prior to them getting on the train. And but our beautiful set design, of course, is by Tanner Robertson, Greg Dunlap, Brandon Confumi, Noah Lang are working their butts off on our set. There's so many aspects of our set that are so cool, but we literally go to 3 different train cars basically on our stage. And there's not much room. In fact, the first time they taped it out, we realized, there is not much room on this train. I was able to kind of get it to be a little bit bigger here and there. How has that been for you guys? Because, in a big musical, you guys have huge dance numbers, or even in plays that you guys have been in have had, your freedom of, especially on the main stage. But this is so, we have to keep, the blocking specific, or else we're blocking people, or there's just not enough room in the compartments, with the sleeping compartments. How has that been for you guys?
It's been a challenge. Yeah. Challenge is a good word for it.
Yeah, I like that we have enough time and have had enough time to really block. You're blocking, it's almost choreography, you know, because if something is slightly different from night to night, it's like, excuse me. So I like that you're, sometimes you'll stop and you'll be like, let's walk slowly through this and literally block. You walk here and you step here, this 1 foot to the left. And so I think that's helpful because, like in a normal show, you can, it doesn't have to be exactly in the same spot, but this is exactly in the same spot.
Absolutely agree.
There's a moment where, Jenny, you don't move. You just stand in a spot because there's no room for you to go anywhere else.
That's challenging to, okay, well, I still have to act. I can't just be a statue, So then what do you do? You got to use your face or your hands or.
It reminds, it's like if for our long-term patron, it's like the opposite of like the 39 steps where we had the entire main stage at our disposal to go and wherever we wanted. And here we are, just like you said, without giving too much away, there's one scene where if you step the wrong direction or end up in the wrong space, someone's blocked. Someone can't be seen. And,
or you fall off the train.
Or you fall off the train, yes.
They couldn't have done it. They died off the train now.
I'll say I love anytime you have to live in the set as an actor, that you don't just have all that space everywhere and you have to, everything is kind of everywhere. I love it when you are confined and you do have to. It's an interesting challenge, but at the same time, I think it also makes it a little more realistic for the actor's brain that you're simultaneously trying to think of like sight lines and, I don't want to block this person, so I got to counter, and that you're thinking very technically, but then at the same time, you're also like, I'm in this room with all of these people, or I'm in this space. And I think it tricks your body and your brain into believing you're there, which is always really fun for me.
That's cool.
Well, and early on, there's in the stage direction, there's all this stuff that's supposed to happen in one sleeping corridor, and immediately I was like, we can't do that. There's no way with our space and what. And so it's been fun kind of being creative, like, oh, let's expand this a little bit into the next room and still be able to make it work, or let's use some different tactics where we can put luggage under the bed, or I mean, the other thing too, it almost feels a little bit like an Adventure Space show because it's so small and compact.
Yeah,
but of course it's on
absolutely.
the main stage.
Yeah.
I think you guys have handled the space really, really well, and accommodating. There's times when it was just taped out, and then we added walls, and then we added doors, and then we added a bed, and then we added tables, and so every night it's kind of been like, okay, what is new and what do I need to adjust to? But I feel like now the footprint is laid out, and that won't change now, which is nice.
Yeah.
But you guys have been handling that very, very well, which is good.
Oh God, and the set, I mean, this is the thing I love about shows with like the big cool sets is you get to watch them evolve. And it goes from being tape on the floor to just being these big wooden square walls to, right now I walked in and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool looking.
Yeah.
This is like super awesome.
Yeah.
I think everyone's gonna love it.
I hope when audiences come to see it, the details, like, I mean, we are adding trim, and we're making sure we've done our research where we've looked at, okay, what did the train actually look like, and what fabrics did they have? And, so we have curtains that are going to be similar, or, we're looking at, Jamie McBride's helping with our props with the help of Jeremy Hernandez. And she's looking at, okay, vintage style, this and that, and plates and cups, and making sure everything, phones. And that's been so much fun because it really is. We're going to do a little bit of kind of some film noir, if you will, with this show as well, but it's almost cinematic with how the show is, because you guys are confined, and it's almost like a movie set in some aspects, which is super fun. You guys, I mean, also anyone who comes sees the show, we'll remind constantly, but we want to make sure people keep the secret of the show, and so if you know it, a lot of people who are like, oh, I think I remember it, I think once they come in, they might get a little confused or different things like that. But once you see it, we're going to ask everyone, keep the secret. We want to make sure that nothing gets revealed with this show, because it's really going to be a lot of fun. There are moments, you guys do so well. There are moments when you guys like unveil something that I'm like, and I already know it's not. I'm like, it's just the way you guys deliver it that I just feel like I need to like have that shock, like oh, moment. Yeah. So for people who have no clue anything about the show, I can't wait for them to see it, especially.
Yeah.
When the season was announced at the beginning of the season, was this a show that you all three were like, ooh, that's a show I want to maybe try out for, or try my hand at?
This was number one on my list. This was
number
number
one.
one.
Yeah.
I saw that
so
was like,
yeah,
and because there's every season there's always that show that's on there, and there's somebody in the pool or in the talent pool or in the town who was just like, that's the one I'm looking forward to.
Sure.
And this was it for me. I was just like, oh my God, I don't care what I do for the rest of the season. I want to do that show. I don't care what I do in that show. I want to do that show.
I was the same, Michael. It harkened me back to our Mousetrap days.
I was gonna say, you two have been in an Agatha Christie play, yeah.
Yes. Well, and I loved Mousetrap, which was another Agatha Christie murder mystery.
Agatha Christie murder mystery.
And that was probably my first. That might have been my first play. I don't know.
It was because I distinctly remember Jenny sitting on stage with us going, so when are we getting microphones, you guys? And we all like,
listen. Well, and what was great was there was no Sunday dance rehearsals. I was like, this play life is the good life.
I'm not sore. This is fantastic.
Yeah. No, I loved it.
Choreography. We call it blocking. It's fine. We're good.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I loved Mousetrap. I loved the keeping the secret and revealing it little by little to the audience. I loved that so much. And this I love the story of this one. So I was like, I'm there.
Without giving anything away, Jenny will attest that moment when there's the reveal and the audience gasps it is better than any applause. It is better than anything. It is just that moment.
Agreed.
You know that they're in it. You know that they're in it, and they're trying to figure it out themselves. And
it's validating. You're like, we did it. We kept We did it. We did it right. We kept the secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Stafford, what made you want to audition?
It was kind of a combination of a lot of smaller things that all fit together really well. So for me, it kind of was more of a serendipitous kind of thing. Because looking at the show season, since I moved back to Emerald because I was gone for a while, I'd been keeping my eye on things, but just between work and life and things like that, there were some times where I was like, that one's interesting, I'll see, and then didn't really have the time for it. So when this show was announced, the first thing for me was this show is also the prompt for the UIL design competition for the state of Texas this year. So I went, I'll already know that show very well.
Sure. Yeah.
And then looking at the time frame of it, kind of bookending with rehearsals and show, bookending the Christmas break or the winter break, with work and everything, with doing I think 6 shows this year through my school productions. They're like, okay, if I want to do an outside show, as an actor, this is the time that it would work. Sure. So those things were always kind of in the back of my head, and then I've been kind of going back and forth on it, and then really reading it with my students, and me reading several of the parts with them. But there's always one of those things, for me at least, that when you're reading a show, something clicks and you go, "That's my character." And the more I was reading it, I kept going, I really like Book. I want to be Book. And so finally I was like, all right, yeah, we're gonna go all in on this. And
I love that. We should also mention to our viewers that Michael Stafford's not in the witness protection program right now.
Yes, my home lighting is just very interesting.
No, you're good. You're good. But trust us, he
That's
wants
his
to be
real
seen.
voice.
Yes, exactly. Yes. He will want to be seen in the show. Wouldn't it be funny if Book just had this shadow though throughout the who show that nobody could tell who he was?
Just like blur across it, or we just block it where the face is always obscured.
Yes, like Mike Wazowski.
Yes. And we're talking about these auditions. Gosh, they were auditions and callbacks. We had 51 people audition for this play, which is normally the same numbers we would have for a big musical. And so options that we had in combinations, and I mean it's a good problem to have, but it's definitely a problem where you're like, I have so many options, and the talent runs deep. I mean, all 51 people who auditioned for the show were talented. It wasn't like, oh, we can no, it was like, okay,
you could have cast 4 different.
Yes.
And I mean,
it was
one of the things is when you prepare for those things and you feel ready to go, and then you get there and there's that many, not just that many people, but that many talented, really solid actors. And it forces you to step up your game right then and there. And that is just, and so like, it was an amazing audition process. Some of the people they were truly just like, I would pay to watch this. We should sell tickets for auditions like that.
And all of y'all, everyone that auditioned could have gone different parts. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, what's the best combination that we could put you guys in? And so we felt really good with the cast that we have, and man, you guys are definitely doing a phenomenal job. Speaking of the cast that we have, we should mention, of course, we've already talked about your roles, but we want to remind everyone, Mary Debenham, the governess, the London governess, if you will, is played by Mallory Corona. This is her second show. She was a nun in Sound of Music, so this is, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, she's new, and yes, she's new this season, but she was a part of that Sound of Music production. Another person new to Sound of Music and new to our season is Jax Ebert. He plays Hector McQueen, who is an American kind of secretary to one of the other characters. And then the other person that was in Sound of Music, Rob Attaway, is playing Michelle, the conductor. And so I love that these three have, started out the season, with a show and are already getting a second show in, which is super, super fun. Another person making her ALT debut, Sarah Olsen. She's playing Countess Andrenyi, the Hungarian Countess, which is so much fun. And then also Sean Renaud playing Colonel Arbuthnot. He's the Scottish kind of military man of our show, which is super fun. And then some veterans of ours, of course, that have done shows in the past. Melanie Sanders playing the Russian princess. And Jenny, she's kind of your partner in crime, if you will, in the show. You guys are kind of paired up together, and you guys have some great. And it's your first time to work with Melanie, right? Is that right?
Yes, my heart leapt when our names were both on that list. I was so excited to be in a show with Melanie. She has my utmost respect. I've watched her for a long time and was kind of a little starstruck to be in a show with her. I think so highly of her on stage, and it's been great. And we're just kind of buddies the whole entire show. So
I love it.
I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, I don't recall seeing you guys not with each other at any
No, and
Yeah.
it occurred to us the other day, we're following along, we're doing these big runs, full act run or full show run. And we realized we are never apart. So we're like, what do we have next? What scene is this for us? So it's like, I have a partner to lean on.
You're like both walking into the dressing room at the same time. Yeah. Going, oh, this could be in here too. Yes, exactly. I love that. Another one of our, of course, ALT veterans, Carrie Huckabee, playing Helen Hubbard from Minnesota. And then we have, of course, Brooks Boyette playing Samuel Ratchet, an American kind of businessman, entrepreneur, if you will. And if you notice, we've said Russian, Scottish, Swedish, French. I mean, the accents in the show are, from all over. Yeah. And you guys are doing so well with accents. Before I want to talk more about the accents here in a second, but before I do, we also have 4 other cast members that are amazing. With this show, with of course everything going on in the world with COVID, I had a little bit of during Sound of Music, we had some actors that were COVID positive the second weekend, and we had to kind of reshuffle some parts and get actors to play parts they weren't originally in. And we didn't have an ensemble in this show, and so I wasn't able to bump up some people, and so we asked everyone who auditioned if they'd be interested, and luckily some people said yes, and so we cast 4 swings or understudies, if you will. And so Jackie Llewellyn is understudying kind of the Princess and Greta and Helen Hubbard roles. Kendall and people know Jackie. A long time ago, she was in Proof. She was in It's Only a Play a couple seasons back. Kendall Carnahan is playing kind of the swing of the younger 2 roles of the Countess and, of course, Mary. She was seen last season? I guess it was, of Little Women. She played Jo in Little Women, and of course, is a WT actress. Jeffrey Pickens is covering both Michael's roles, and the head waiter. He, of course, was just seen in Defying Gravity, has been in a ton of shows. And then Rice Guerin, who's my assistant director for the show, is covering Ratchet and McQueen. And you guys have to admit, in fact, I pulled a photo that we're going to post here in a second. These guys are just, oh my gosh, the backbone of the show. They have been such great troopers. One, to not only agree to do this, but memorize all of the lines, memorize all the blocking. They're at all the rehearsals. Those of you who have had conflicts, who have not been here for a rehearsal, they've gone in. So we've gotten to see them play some of these characters and are knocking out of the park, like fully memorized. Like character development have been phenomenal to work with. They'll, of course, be a part of our crew, but they're ready to go. We have costumes for them. At if God forbid anything happens, and I feel like they're prepared. They feel that they have been at the rehearsals. They know the blocking. They've seen, what you guys have been doing. And in some aspects too, have a different kind of way of doing their characters. They have their own characters in itself. They're not necessarily copying and pasting what you guys are doing.
And hats off to them.
Fortunate. Yes.
We all had one role to memorize, and we're just like, oh my God, how are we going to get there? I don't know how we're going to get there. These guys are memorizing not just that role, but another one on top of it.
Jackie has
in some cases, 3. I mean, amazing.
Accents and the funny thing is, Jackie had to do this one night, where we've had like 2 people out, and so they've covered both parts. I know Kendall's covered 2 parts in the same night as well.
Rice kind of did one night.
Yes, Rice and Jackie were hilarious because they had conversations with themselves. Like it was like they're doing one thing, Russian and then Swedish, and then Rice was yelling at himself back and forth. And those moments where you're like, wow.
Carrie and Mel were both gone one night, and so Jackie is having an argument between Mrs. Hubbard.
Yes. It was brilliant. It was just perfect.
Russian, Wisconsin, Russian, Midwest.
It was so good.
Do you picture swings being something you'd like to continue in the future?
Great question.
No matter what, no matter where.
Going to get interviewed. I feel like we have a swing in cabaret. Lissa Guerin is kind of the dance captain, and she's helping assistant choreograph, but she's learning all the choreography to go in. in some aspects, we've kind of had that in a weird way. I've had to go in for a show. Of course, remember Rock of Ages, and me and our choreographer went in. Beth has gone in as choreographer for Legally Blonde before. I went in years ago when we did Footloose. An actor had a death in the family in Arizona and had to be gone for 2 performances. The only other person in the room that knew the choreography was me, the choreographer. It's funny. I was actually Michaela Guerin's, this is the random thing, but I was her prom date. She missed prom to do Footloose, and I was her, dance partner that night. And so we'd laugh about how I was her prom date.
She got her.
Yeah. So I could see, we had a scare in Double Wide Texas Christmas the second weekend. An actress tested positive, and the assistant director went in, and then a crew member went in and had enough time to rehearse. And so I feel like it's a good thing for us to kind of consider having either a swing or an understudy or the assistant director who could go in if need be, or a director or something like that. I could see the next show I'm directing is Shrek, and I could definitely see us having some understudies that are within the show potentially. With us having a big ensemble, that's helpful. But with these small plays, Art is the next show that we'll have auditions for, and there's 3 men, and so I could see that show having maybe an assistant director or a swing that kind of knows what's going on and can go in if need be. There's the saying, the show must go on, and we were lucky that the show was still able to go on for Sound of Music and for Double Wide Texas Christmas and things like that. And so I think we could easily kind of, Broadway right now, they're surviving on swings and understudies. They're having people who haven't done the show in 5 or 6 years come back and follow the show.
Like, hey, do you remember those lines?
Yeah, there was a girl who went in and did Elphaba. She's not been in the business since 2015, and she just had a couple rehearsals and went in. So yeah. It's amazing. I've neglected our comments. I'm gonna go back to those real quick. Laurel says, "Hey, Michael Newman, can't wait to see you on stage again." I love that. And Bullis is so excited to see everyone in this. Jenny loves murder.
I do.
She loves a good podcast. Wouldn't it be funny if there was a podcast for Agatha Christie's murder on the Orient Express?
I heard there was a video game about it.
There is a video game, yes.
Michael Newman, you probably knew that.
Nice, I love that. Matt says, "I'm so envious of that mustache, Michael. That mustache is a good mustache, right?"
It is real. It is mine. That is not. One of the things was like, I have a problem with like a prosthetic hair. Like I sweat so hard when I go on stage that no matter what I do, whether it's spirit gum, latex, or it comes off. And I was just like, I'm just going to grow that mustache.
Yeah, it looks so good too. Dennis, one of our production assistants, says, "I can't wait for people who aren't regulars at ALT to walk out asking, how did they get all of those French and Belgians to come on and do a show in Amarillo?" It's so true.
The magic of theater.
The magic of the theater. Rob Attaway, one of your fellow cast members, says, "I love our swings so much. They are amazing." It's true.
Yes.
And then Michaela very sweetly says, "Best prom date ever, other than my now husband, I guess."
Good answer.
Good answer.
Well put.
And we remind, of course, Rice Guerin, our assistant director, Dennis Humphrey, and Blake Nestor, our 2 production assistants who will help run the show. Dennis is designing some projections for the show. Jamie McBride pulling props. Of course, we talked about set. Carrie Huckabee has been helping with some costumes. And it's a huge, everyone that's involved, we've said this before, they're working their butts off to make this the absolute best show we can possibly do, which I'm so appreciative of.
Absolutely.
What's it like with working with the cast, of course, and working with not only new people, veterans that you haven't worked with before, maybe, but also with your swings? You know what I mean? You might have been gone for a couple of rehearsals, and you're like, okay, did I miss some things, or how has that process been for you guys?
I love the new people. New people. I love it. I want everyone to feel at home and welcome. And if you're kind of looking in and thinking, do I try it? It's one of the most welcoming families. And I hope that everybody feels that way, because my favorite part has been getting to know the new people. So
100%.
And I'll say, as a new people, it is very, if somebody outside was walking into a rehearsal to observe, I don't think they would really probably be able to tell who is new people and who is not, as far as our interactions with each other. And obviously there's some things where somebody will make a reference with Jason that's from years ago, but
us old people.
But other than
us
that,
old folk.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, we've all been getting along really well and being very, cordial and pleasant, but also just very helpful and very, very production mindset, I guess. Like, everybody's been thinking about, like, the production as a whole and not themselves in any way.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
Very
from
true.
day one, everybody was focused and on it and trying really hard. Everybody was giving 100% from day one, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
We had such a good cast meeting that first day of, tons of information. We did, of course, kind of our concept for the show, and then Rice, did some background on the time period, and then we jumped into that full read through, and from there I feel like we just have not let up. Like, blocked the show in a week and ran it, and then we're like, okay, let's run acts. Oh, we can do this, and now we're running the show earlier than expected, which is great. Matt Morgan has a request. He said, could we get a small taste of the accents?
Oh, good question.
Maybe a line of that y'all say. That might be. I will say, though, you guys have been doing awesome. I randomly will slip into random accents that are not in the show. I'll be like, all righty, let's take it from the top. And I'm like, there's nobody that's Irish.
No one is there.
Yes, I'm like,
Look at their like the story you're about to witness tonight
Exactly,
is
yes.
one of romance and tragedy.
I feel like sometimes I'll like absorb an accent like by proxy. I'll like turn Russian a little bit, and I'll be like, "Well, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That wasn't supposed to be me."
Yeah, I've absorbed some of Sean's Scottish on my like. Oh my god! It always comes up coming out with it. I'm like, no, that's not. He's not Belgian.
If you've never done a show with accents, folks, that is one of the hardest things. Like, at least with like if we do a McDonough play, everybody's Irish, and you're like, oh, we can go along doing our Irish, no problem. But when it's this many, you're just like, I have to know what my accent is called, because
super focused.
If I am walking around speaking in a Belgian accent the entire time, I cannot all of a sudden turn around and become a Russian, because that will not make sense.
yeah.
Probably my favorite. Well, Jason sent us some YouTube videos to kind of look into our accent and like hear what they say. And Swedish, I feel like, is still kind of hard for me. But my favorite way to do Swedish is like double O's, and I literally have a line that says the word Luke and book in the same line, which I love. She's telling a story how she's been on a train and she was reading and she looks up from her book, and I just wish I had all double O's. That makes it so easy.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I kind of drew from the producers. The I don't know, what was the character's name?
Inga? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Inga.
Yes.
I kind of hear her in my head when I
Yeah. Oh, I think something to have just a grasp of, to where you can, pull out. Sometimes people have to say a certain sentence to get the accent, to get the rhythm. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, both of you guys are really good on your French, though.
They are. The Belgian stuff. Michael Stafford, how did you find your accent, do you feel?
I went to YouTube and found it's actually the video that you had sent us after, and I was like, I'm doing good. Of a Belgian, because there's a couple of things on YouTube that are like Worldwide Accent Project, or there's a few similar things like that, where they get somebody from that place and they say, here, read this, read this section of thing. And so the biggest thing was I listened to that a few times, kind of keyed in on some of his characteristics. For me, with this accent, getting the rhythm was really what unlocked it, and like changing like fantastic to fantastique, like that. That's my trigger. Is the like, it's not just the way that you're not changing the sound, but just the like whole shift in the way that you speak. And for me, the rhythm and in that is what really flipped the switch for me on this one.
It's so musical. You know what I mean? Some of those shows, I mean, there's so much where it's not just you're just saying words. It's the inflections that you guys have, and the pauses, or the actor beats that you add into those, that I think make those accents come alive. And everyone's doing a phenomenal job. It's been fun just hearing everything. When I literally at the end of the night, I'm like, I'm like muddled. Like there's so many accents in my head that I'm like, oh my gosh, they're doing so well.
And credit to
So
everybody. They are killing that. I think, honestly,
yes.
though, the best accent in the entire show is Carrie Huckabee with that Midwest mom accent. I'm just like, this is amazing.
Midwest mom.
I mean, have you not listened? It's amazing. It is truly, you're like, I'm from Minnesota, and you're like, oh my God.
It's perfect. It's so good.
Yeah.
With this show, you know, we've talked about how we've rehearsed over the winter break and different things like that. You know, we're now into full runs, and you know, next we'll be adding more, you know, costume pieces and lights and stuff like that. How are you guys feeling where we are with the show as far as your character developments and your, you know, as far as where the show is for you?
This is my 33rd show with ALT, and this is, I think, easily the farthest along we've ever been at this point.
Agreed.
Like, you're memorized. Like literally, we were told, "Oh, next week, no line calls," and I'm like, "Really? We got 3 weeks before we open, and we're already at no line call. That's impressive."
Well, and it's just really all the hard work that you guys have put into the show has gotten us here. The hard work our swings have got done, because as each, you know, if there was a conflict and the swing went in, we still progressed the rehearsal. Like it wasn't anything hindering. It propelled us even more to where you guys are further along than normally we are in a play setting. And I think for me too, I'm so used to musicals where we're like, we have all these things, elements. So when we don't have, you know, vocals or we don't have choreography, and we're just concentrating on these scenes, we're blessed, because then we're able to go back and dissect a scene a little bit more and have that time to go, to find new discoveries, if you will. And you guys have been such good at knowing your characters and have been great helping find those discoveries, I think.
Yeah, trying new things. There's time to try new things and try and fail. And now that didn't work. Well, let's do that. I don't feel like we're rushed yet, or I don't feel like there's a lot of pressure yet of like, oh my gosh, we're time crunched. But I feel like because we're solid, Jason, you can, you know, be like, let's try this way. I feel like there's freedom to do that since we are so far ahead.
And it's because you know the lines. You know, it's once actors know the lines and know the scene, then it's like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try this now. Oh, that did work. Let's keep that. Or and that's
and can I take a moment to shout out to my amazing wife? We had so many trips back and forth to Dallas, Fort Worth for the Christmas break. And on every single one of those trips, she sat there in the passenger seat with my script and went over every line. And
that's how you did it.
Yeah. And I love my wife to death.
Scene 25. Yeah.
She's going to hate me for saying this. My wife is the absolute worst at accents. So
Stacy,
that's and it would just be like, I'm gonna now then plot through. I'm like, I don't know what that was, babe.
I love it. Oh, that's so funny.
Except for Hungarian. She is amazing at Hungarian.
Wow, I feel like that's the hardest one.
Yes, agreed. That's brilliant. But it's true, you guys. I mean, all of the line load that you guys have, but especially you, Michael Newman, you're, you know, interviewing all the people, and man, it's you guys have done a great job. It's
I would tell people, like, when they're like, hey, you're doing so good, I'm like, yeah, I have not gotten the last 5 pages memorized, and that's where everything is. That's like where it's like, I'm just gonna start talking now.
Exactly. Just tell the story. When people come see the show, which we hope everyone, of course, comes to see Murder on the Orient Express, January 20th through the 30th. Season tickets holders can get their tickets this week, Monday. Our general public can begin their reservations. When people come see the show, let's start with you, Jenny, and then we'll go to you, Michael, Stafford, and then Newman. What are you hoping audiences take away once they see this show?
Oh, I hope if they don't already know the story, I hope we sufficiently shock them and trick them. I hope that they are able to follow along and not be confused with all the characters, but I hope we are able to like give them a good shocking reveal at the end. So if you like surprises, or if you like a good mystery page turner story, I hope that you are entertained by this. And I just really hope that we, you know, shock some people at the end.
Sure. Yeah. What about you, Stafford?
Well, it's funny you saying that re-triggered my teacher memory because I've been having students working on trying to design this and dissecting theme and everything like that. So I've multiple times said, okay, we've read through the show, we talked about it. What do you want the audience to be thinking about 3 weeks after the show? Not just the show, not the specifics to the show, but there's a lot of talk about what is justice and what are these things? What does this look like? And so that's where my brain went immediately when you asked that, was those questions of, because it does bring up some things of like, what does justice look like? And are certain examples of things, is that a just way to handle something?
Sure.
And I think that's that underlying thing that you can carry with you.
Yes, I think people will question, their morals and what people would do in any situation that may occur in this show. What about you, Michael Newman?
I hope that people come see it twice.
Yes.
Because, and I'm noticing it in rehearsals from every single person in the cast, is there's hints at the solution that each person is kind of like putting in there all throughout. Like there's hints towards what the solution is. And when you figure out what the solution is, you're going to want to go back and see, and you'll be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Little things. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Definitely. It's one that would be fun to see twice, I think.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And we want to, of course, remind people shows are January 20th through the 30th. Thursday productions are at 7:30, Fridays and Saturdays at 8 o'clock, Sunday matinees at 2:30, both weekends. We always want to remind our audiences that January 20th, that first show is a 2-for-1 night for anyone that gets tickets, 2 for the price of 1. Students are always 2 for the price of 1, so definitely use those discounts if you can. And then, of course, we want to remind audiences that our 3 productions of on January 20th, 23rd, and 29th. Those 3 productions are our masked performances. So we'll have our audiences, they'll be wearing masks. We've had such great kind of feedback from audience members who can't come out and do theater or can't do things unless their immune system is low or different things like that, but they can with the masks. And so we're able to get some people who have missed out on a whole year of theater still able to come and see some great shows. We do want to remind everyone that this is PG-10 and up, due to, of course, some adult themes with some violence, of course, gunshots here and there, and murder. Murder, which we've all talked about this, how this murders could be a little bit different, but then like Wizard of Oz, a witch died, we're fine. But
wait, hold
totally
on.
okay.
Did you just drop a house on them and then kill their sister? It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's a kid's.
Let's sing a song.
Yeah.
But we really hope everyone, gets tickets. You, of course, can call our box office, 806-355-9991. Check out our website, amarillo.littletheater.org, to get those tickets. I'm telling you guys, get your tickets soon. It's going to, I think, sell, especially once people see the show. Not only see these performances, see the technical elements that we're adding to the show, see the set. Hopefully we'll have some sneak peeks sometime soon. I'm so excited to have all the elements of our show just put together. I keep telling everyone's like, how's the show? And I'm like, if every element of the show comes together where I think it can definitely come together, but if all the elements come together, it's gonna be such a cool show. It already is a cool show without any of those elements. Like we could do the show. I filmed last night's rehearsal for our own tech side, and I'm like, yeah, we didn't really do costumes and had no lighting and no sound effects or anything like that, and I was enthralled and still entertained. And so it's like having a really awesome dessert. Now we're adding all the frosting and the sprinkles and like all that stuff just to try to match how amazingly talented this cast is. So kudos to you three, and of course the rest of our cast and amazing production team as well. Throughout this weekend and then or the next 2 weeks following, we will have more cast members of Murder on the Orient Express. We're glad that we got our 3 AISD teachers who are off today that could do this. I know you guys have a little bit, your break is dwindling a little bit, but we appreciate that you guys have been spending so much time at the theater, not only with rehearsing, but of course, you guys all have amazing opportunities to do other things. So just put your energy towards this show. We really appreciate it. And volunteering, I think sometimes people forget, You don't get paid.
No.
It's all by volunteering. And so you guys are absolutely phenomenal to volunteer your time and energy towards this show. So
We
can't
hope
wait for people to see it.
You've made it so easy and fun and kept the expectations high. And I hope we're making you proud.
Oh, you are. Yeah, I look forward to going to rehearsals every night. I get so excited. Like, okay, I can't wait. Or like, oh my gosh, we added this element. I can't wait to see it.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. Which the next couple of weeks are going to be a little stressful because we're adding some big elements and we got to get those done and for them all to work and things have to arrive on time but it will. It'll all be great. So, yep. For everyone else, Thursdays at 3, don't forget to tune in next week. We'll have more of our amazing actors from Murder on the Orient Express. Don't forget to sign up for theater classes that start up on January 19th or 18th. Then, of course, check out the Academy website for all information about Tuck Everlasting, those dance workshops, and, of course, auditions around the corner starting on January 16th. And then be on the lookout right after the train leaves ALT. We'll be heading to the Adventure Space to say Willkommen with Cabaret. Look for information about that coming soon. Jenny Morgan was in that show 20 years ago when she was just a mere child. She was a baby in that show. And, I love it. And so and then of course, if you're interested, of course, check out the email blast that went out about volunteering for ushering or concession, or give Lissa a call or shoot her an email. Amarillo Little Theater, of course, or Lissa at AmarilloLittleTheater.org. Call 355-9991. We're still looking for one more person to help us with our show. So if you're
we would love to have you involved.
Yes, we'd love to have you come help
us.
You can have any accent you want as you work.
And it's not super hard. It's not a super hard.
It's not a hard show at all.
Stressful.
There's just some moments that we're like, oh, we need 3 people.
Another hand.
Or we have to strike, for example, 4 tables and 8 chairs all at the same time, while our actors can't do it. So it's like
it would be good if you've ever wondered about crewing. This would be a super fun show to just like watch from the side. But then it's not a hard like labor or
it's
stressful.
It's not like Peter Pan where you got to move a set back and forth and then hoist somebody up on a
yeah, exactly, or drops coming in and out or anything like that. No, it's not a crazy
first experience.
Yeah, agreed, very true. And those of you who might be wondering, the commitment would just be starting next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week to watch the show and work the show, and then our tech week starts the following Sunday going into the show. We have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, our rehearsals, and then, of course, all productions. And so not that big of a time commitment. I mean, it is within the next, 2-3 weeks. But when you look at the big scheme of things, how long the show's been rehearsing, it's a good time commitment. If anyone wants to start out and help out, we would love your help. Call us, email us. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go so you can go back to enjoying the rest of your day. We'll see you at rehearsal tonight when we do another full run of Murder on the Orient Express. I love it. Thank you guys so much for being on Thursdays at 3. We'll see you all in a minute. Bye, y'all.
Bye.